Here they are, folks. Beautiful blueberry muffins. I'm going to show you how to make these little gems on today's video. Today I'm going to be making some blueberry muffins. Blueberry muffins are delicious, guys, and it's a treat you need to treat yourself to. Let me tell you something, these little box mixes, they're no different than what I'm about to show you, with the exception of we're using fresh ingredients and I'm adding a lot of extra flavor to it by adding certain additional ingredients. Also, the fake blueberries that they give you in those boxes are pathetic. Come on. We're going to be using some big, beautiful blueberries. Not too large. I like them kind of a medium size. Medium-sized blueberries are a really neat way to go. If they're too big, there's not enough to give you that blueberry per bite, okay? And that's what I look for. I like lots of blueberries really dispersed, and I like it to have that flavor running throughout the dough. So we're gonna do it a special way today. This is blueberry muffins. Now folks, before I get in the kitchen, I want to talk for just a moment. What's the difference between a muffin and a cupcake? A friend of mine that's a chef, he chuckled at me one day and he said, well, that would be the icing on top. And I thought, that's really funny, okay? It's part of it. As a general rule, a cupcake is just a cake with icing or frosting on top of that. It's decorated often, often done in kind of a birthday style or party celebration style. As a general rule, they don't contain much in the way of nuts or fruit or anything like that. Muffins, on the other hand, almost always contain some kind of nuts or fruit. Sometimes they're spicy, sometimes there's a banana in it. There's often berries. It's really much more hearty and a little more breakfast oriented. So we're going to be making muffins today, and the recipe I'm going to provide you is the kind of recipe you want to hang on to. You want to take this recipe and change it up. Put a different kind of berry in it, okay? Put nuts in it. Add some spice to it. There's different things that you can do. This recipe is extremely flexible and allows you incredible versatility when it comes to making really, really good muffins. And if you get right down to it, professional bakers, professional chefs, this is exactly what they do. They have base recipes, base cake recipe, base cupcake recipe, and this is that recipe for you. This can be your base cupcake recipe that you take and mold into all kinds of other things, and I recommend you do that. Folks, let's get in the kitchen. I want to show you the ingredients first, and I want to show you how easy it is to make this. It's all done by hand. Let's make our cupcakes. Come on. Now folks, if you'll see here, we've got a beautiful variety of ingredients. I have my wet ingredients on this side, and this is of course the goodie that we get to put in there to make it wonderful. And this over here is my dry ingredients side. I want to mix the dry ingredients in one bowl. I'm going to mix my wet ingredients in another bowl, and then we're going to combine the two, and we're going to kind of just fold them together, not really mix them heavy. So you don't want to use an electric mixer for this. Now on our ingredients, what we have here is some milk, sour cream, egg, butter, blueberries, sugar, flour, and this is just all-purpose flour, baking powder, and salt. And of course, our blueberries. There you have it. This is to make blueberry muffins. Now I know it looks kind of weird. Why do I have more blueberries here? Well, these get mashed and turned into a streak. It's pretty neat. We'll have fun with that in a little bit. Let's get busy making this dish. Okay, it's time that we get this up and going. I have a big bowl here for my dry ingredients. Now, if you're wondering, does it a lot of extra work to clean up all those bowls? It's a little bit of work. If you think about it, dry ingredients, you just dust the bowl out and go on. They don't have to be heavily washed. Liquid ingredients you do, but for the most part, it's not really that tough, guys, okay? And doing the setup method, just like I said, it makes cooking so much easier. Now you might be thinking, yeah, but I could just measure all of that into one bowl. And if you want to do it that way, you can, but still you're doing a setup method by preparing this one bowl in that way. But when I'm teaching it, it's easier this way. So I have all of this stuff in one bowl, measured in, just get that stirred. Okay, and the next thing we need to do, toss in those blueberries. Now folks, at this point, all I have to do, just give it a shake. Okay. Now, why am I coating my blueberries with the flour? This is kind of an important step. Your blueberries need to be coated in flour so that they won't sink when they are being cooked, all right? And this is just kind of helps them to stay in place a little better. All right, and that way you don't get a bunch of blueberries on the bottom of your muffins. Okay, folks, now I have everything out and ready. The egg has been cracked. My butter's melted. I need to get it all down together. I'm gonna start by putting some butter in there. Put my milk in. And I'm gonna go ahead and get that sour cream in. All right, we're gonna break that egg and get at it. There we have it. That's well mixed and it's all it takes, just a couple of seconds. The ingredients that I'm using here are unremarkable. I mean, they're very common ingredients for muffins. I do a few things different. A lot of people like to use oil in their muffins, and it's usually 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup. Well, I've increased that dramatically, and I'm using butter instead. That rich, buttery flavor, nothing like it, built into that muffin. And it's doing the exact same job as any oil, all right? And you don't use softened butter. Go ahead and melt it. Make this easy, not harder. The next thing, on the eggs, how many eggs do you use? If you want, you can use 2 eggs. It's going to make it a little lighter, a little fluffier, more cupcake-like, less muffin-like. All right? I like to use 1 egg. Backs it down a little bit, gives it a little more of that wonky structure that muffins normally have. Over prepping your ingredients is disastrous, so don't do that. Don't over mix it. Don't use an electric mixer. If it's lumpy, it's okay. Don't worry about that. That's just the way muffins are. They should be a little lumpy. Now, the other ingredients. You're making the dry ingredients wet, and you have to hydrate that stuff somehow. So it's up to you to choose what that cup is going to be. Is it going to be a cup of buttermilk? Is it going to be a cup of milk? You can take milk and add an acidic liquid to it to clabber it or to sour it or make basically buttermilk, okay? So all you have to do there is take some vinegar that's commonly used, add that to your milk, about 1.5 teaspoons to a cup of milk, and that will sour that milk, and boom, you've got your soured milk, your buttermilk. Buttermilk's wonderful. You can use yogurt. You can use all sour cream. It's a little stiffer dough at that point. Well, actually more like a dough, less like a batter. So you can use slightly more if you want it to thin that a little bit. The sour cream adds an acidic spike to it. That's fantastic. And that's the reason I chose it. I wanted the milk to keep it a little more on the batter side, less dough side. And I'm using that sour cream to bring that sharp acid spike in there. That's why we use that. So you get to kind of mix it up a little bit. And this is where we run into learning how to bake. Learning how to bake is more about understanding the fundamentals of how these ingredients work with each other. Okay? That butter hydrates the dough after it's cooked, or oil, whichever you're using. It keeps it moist, basically, and gives it that moist structure on the inside. That's why we use it. The egg helps to give it a little more lift and rise in the oven. works good with the leavening. The leavening is what gives it that air, that carbon dioxide inside that makes it rise up. That's the reason we use the baking powder. Now you can use baking soda and it'll help it to rise up more before you bake it, if you like doing it that way. And it gives a lighter structure. So this is how we do this. When we're developing recipes, we look at things like this. And also, when it comes to that item, that active ingredient, the baking powder. What's the difference between baking powder and baking soda? Well, in this case, I'm using a double-acting baking powder. Baking powder has baking soda in it, but it has other ingredients that cause it to give off carbon dioxide. You have to mix some sort of acid with that baking soda to cause the reaction that gives you the carbon dioxide that causes it to rise up. The double acting means that it happens twice. Once when you first mix it, and then again when you put it in the oven. The heat of the oven activates the second catalyst that causes more carbon dioxide to be produced as it's baking. That's how that works. And this is the beginning of you learning how to do good baking. I wanted to choose this recipe to kind of give this lesson behind. Alrighty, so now I need to mash up these blueberries. Now, I don't have to get just crazy about it, but I want some wet blueberry running through this. Now that is my little addition right there, and it's nice and tart, and it's a wonderful addition to this. I'm going to go ahead and get these ingredients all mixed together. So let's take our liquid, pour it right down into the dry bowl. So let's go ahead and get this all mixed together. And if you'll notice, it's sort of sticky and dry, and I want to say this, you don't have to do some unbelievably good job of combining this. Often these batters will be a little lumpy, and they'll be a little bit dry and a whole lot imperfect. And that's sort of in the character and in the nature of what we have here. And I'm being kind of gentle not to bust up my blueberries too much, getting it all mixed there. Now, this little goodie, let's go ahead and get it right in here. And again, I don't want a lot of working here. I just want to kind of get this to run throughout and to streak through it. But I don't want it fully combined in there. Okay? So if you see it turning all of your batter a different color, you're over mixing it. Okay, there we go. That's it. Right at that point. And now I just have to get this into my muffin cups. Alright folks, let me get my batter off of this, and we can already see some action going on down here, starting to fluff up a little bit from that active ingredient we put in there, that baking powder. Now I need to get the batter from my bowl into these cups. Now I want to say something right now before I dish this in here. See these little guys? This is the foil type. These are nice. You can just grease the pan. You can run butter over the pan, and that works fine. Or you can butter it and flour it. That works good too. I like using the foil cups because they release from the batter so easily, and they're a really easy cleanup. It's a nice convenience. You can use a regular spoon, or you can use a scooper, just whatever you have handy to help facilitate getting your batter right down in those cups. There we go. Oh, nice and full like that one. Now we just got to get these little gems in the oven and be ready to enjoy them after they come out of the oven. The oven is at 375 degrees and these are going in. Yeah. I have those down in the oven now, and my timer has been set. I set it for 25 minutes. I'll set that there. I'll check those in 25 minutes. They should be well browned at that point and ready to pull out. And if you pull them out and you check one with a toothpick and notice that there's a little batter on it, Make sure that it's not just blueberry juice. If it's actual batter, then they go back in the oven. But if they come out clean and no batter on them, then they're ready. That's as simple as it is. These are blueberry muffins that I am looking forward to enjoying. It's been a while. Now folks, the quantity of everything that I have used today in these muffins starts with 1 cup of blueberries. These are to be kept whole. And as you've seen, these get mashed and streaked on through it. 6 tablespoons of butter melted. 1 egg. 1/2 cup of milk. 1/2 cup of sour cream. And that is your liquid side. On your dry ingredients, you want 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1/2 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 3 teaspoons of double-acting baking powder. That gives you one wonderful recipe. Now let's take a look at these beautiful blueberry muffins. I am unwrapping these little guys. Now this is where the foil wrapping usually shines, but sometimes you'll see you get a little sticking if there was some sugar. And of course, you know, where you have blueberries, you have sugar, so you could still get a little sticking. For the most part though, you're going to find that the foil releases absolutely perfectly, just like that. Isn't that nice? There we go. Muffin delight. Okay, here's your little serving tip. If you're doing a party or something like that, throw some blueberries down on that plate. That way it really looks elegant. And it looks like you spent a little time and a little caring making beautiful blueberry muffins. Well, the baking is all finished. The muffins, let me break one apart here. Right there, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful, beautiful muffins. Oh, yeah. This is what a good muffin should be. It's rich and bold, inviting, and filled with the flavor that it should be filled with. All about blueberry. Thank you very much for watching this one. Hey folks, if you would, take a look in the description box below. S.A.Trotter Arts is overseeing Texas Cooking Today. So Texas Cooking Today is now a project actually of S.A.Trotter Arts, and that's of course my parent company. I've just now developed that, and I have a website for it. That's in the link down below. You'll see that in the description box. Take a look. There's some posters there, there's some shirts there, soon to be a lot more merchandise there, including Texas Cooking Today merchandise. Who knows, maybe a shirt brandished with beautiful blueberry muffins on the front of it. I might do something weird like that. Enjoy. Thank you for looking at that. Please check out the channel, and thank you for watching. These are good.